out again as well. Mustafa Branch is close, and we'll see. Bryce Love still kind of day to day. We'll see how he is later in the week. Not practicing right now, but we'll see. Like I said, we'll give him a couple days and see how he is before we make the trip.
Fitz is on vacation, but I am the surrogate with the question. He wants. This may not be applicable this week, considering what you just said, but given the Heisman campaign, if we want to use that term, Fitz's question is if any accommodations are going to be made going forward in terms of giving him more opportunities to score touchdowns later in the game, anything that you guys...
We're going to show up and play football. We're just going to show up and play, and hopefully Bryce can go this week. If he can't go, fine. Then he'll go the next week, hopefully. And when he's out there, he's going to get the ball. He's a phenomenal player, one of the best in the nation. So he'll get the ball, and we'll try to find a way to win games. I think he's got, how many touchdowns does he have for the year? 11, yeah. He's not hurt for touchdowns. He's doing okay.
You guys have already talked about limiting his pitch count anyway in practice. So how much practice would he really need for you to be ready to put him out there on Thursday?
0.
Okay.
None. He's played a lot of football in these 2.5 years for us. Knows what we do and how we do it. If it takes till game time and he's ready to go, then he'll go out there and play. So I'm not worried about that. I'm usually more worried about things like that for guys that don't have as much experience, haven't played a lot of football, and you're worried about them not practicing and being able to have the timing of the things that we do. I'm not worried about that for Bryce. I mean, we grab the door of their place. Thanks, Alan.
So that's kind of a good segue to Walker Little being back at the top of the depth chart. I assume you're feeling pretty good about where he is.
Yeah, he's looked great in practice. Feels really good. He's able to do everything. So I think it looks like he's going to be full go.
Going up against Oregon State, which is a team that is it kind of hard to figure them out right now because of what they're going through and the fact that they look greatly improved against Colorado despite everything they're going through off the field?
Yeah, it's an energized football team. They play really hard. They play fast. They have a variety of things that they do. And they'll have a week and a half to get ready for us. So we have to have our antenna up, knowing that there may be some things that are new, some things that are different, some things we may have to adjust to, which is kind of what we're used to anyway, especially on the offensive side because we don't see a lot of people play our style of football. So on game day, sometimes we'll have to make some adjustments on how people play our multiple tight end sets or our 21 personnel, 2 backs and a tight end personnel. So we know we have to be ready for adjustments regardless. But it's a team that's playing really hard and playing really fast and play against Colorado with a lot of heart. And honestly, from a football standpoint, it was good to see. These are college kids, and you go through something really difficult and coaching change, and they went out there and played really hard.
So you guys are, by most metrics, the most explosive team in the country, more than you've been in the past. And I was just wondering your thoughts on what's gone into all of that, and then also just any concerns that it hasn't been the steady that you guys usually have on offense. It's been the long ball, to use that term.
I like steady, but I also like explosive. That's been one of those things that we've been talking about for the personnel that we have, and Bryce, of course, has taken the majority of that on his shoulders, which is awesome. But you look at Cam and Scarlett throughout the year, and the number of long runs and long catches that he has for a guy with his limited touches. And, of course, you factor in some of the short yardage carries, which are not going to be big carries. He still has some 10, 15, 20-yard runs, a couple of long catches. You look at since J.J. Arcega-Whiteside's been back and comfortable and healthy, making big plays down the field, and our tight ends with, in the plays that they've made. Trent Irwin's made some 15-yard plus, catches. So Basically, all the things that I've said still boils down to one thing for me. It's the continual progression of the offensive line. The better we are up front, the better our running game is. The better we are up front, the more comfortable our quarterback is in the pocket. And, Keller's played progressively better and better. And so when the quarterback's playing well and has protection and the guys are downfield making plays and you've got the athletes that we believe that we have, then you have a chance to change field position.
Last week during the bye week, Lance Anderson and Mike Bloomer both talked about it being a great opportunity to almost kind of do a little bit of a training camp style work with the younger guys. And I was wondering what stood out to you about the progress some of the younger guys have made and if anyone has flashed in particular.
I wouldn't single anybody out right now. I think it was really healthy for us our guys have played a lot of football, give them a little bit of a rest. We did a one-period preview each day for Oregon State, but we didn't get heavy into the game plan. There was a lot really focusing on our techniques. But it was good to see our young guys go out there and execute our stuff. They do the scout teams all the time. They're running off the cards. But it was good to see them go out there and play our offense and our defense. And just kind of stole a couple practices just to see these guys we haven't seen really do our stuff in over a month. So I think it was just positive. It was a good thing to do.
Can you update us on Davis Mills and Foster Sorrell and how they did in that time?
Well,
okay.
Both are progressing. Foster has the added benefit of being able to get into a couple games. He's been in games, been in some really good situations too. We had him in for, I think, a short archer goal line, and he's been able to play significantly in a couple of games. So still learning, still growing, and is still doing well. Happens to have some guys in front of him that are outstanding and playing some of their best football. But I think the arrow is really up on Foster. Davis, he just got healthy really in the last month or so, last few weeks, and he's growing and learning. He's learned a lot of the offense. Doesn't have it all down just yet, but it's just good to see him doing the scout team and then coming out and doing some of our things and getting the ball out of his hands and moving a little bit. So we're taking the right steps with those guys.
There's been discussion about, and something that could potentially come up for you guys to a certain extent, playing a Saturday game on the road and then having a Friday game the next week. Washington State ran head into that with both being a road game. Kind of your thoughts on how that's managed and the challenge that presents to teams, especially if it's a road-road combo.
It just, you talk about degree of difficulty. It's hard to win games in every conference. It's not just our conference. It's hard to win games against your conference opponents. And when you start adding in late night games followed by short week, late night game, those are hard. Those are difficult on your coaches, difficult on your players to get, because we're creatures of habit. We get into a rhythm, and you disturb that rhythm, and you add in travel, and you add in a lack of sleep. You're missing at least one good night's sleep, and you're missing a 24-hour period to recover. So those are just difficult things that we put on ourselves, and this is part of our contract with our media partners. That's very difficult, and you can't say that it doesn't affect the games, because it does. So you ask any football coach, and we'll say, hey, we want to play all of our games on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And that's just not realistic anymore. And it would be great if we had some more influence on that to normalize our schedules. Because we tend to forget about these young people they're at school. Their health, their well-being are important to us. But we put that on the shelf periodically because, they want us to play at 7 o'clock on 6-day notice on the road. And those are difficult things. We'll adjust and we'll do the best we can. But these are not ideal situations for playing games. And it's what most people have dealt with for years. It seems like in the last few years has been even more so, particularly for our conference, to play, in some Some have gone back-to-back short week late night road games multiple times, and those are hard games to win. They're really difficult, and you might play really, really well and use a lot of your energy and et cetera, and then you come back, and then it's hard to come back and win the next week. But that's what we have. It's the road that we have, and we do the best job we can to get our guys ready on short weeks for late nights, just because that's the road that we have in front of us.
What does it say about having defensive linemen like Harrison Phillips leading the team in tackles, kind of the same way Solomon Thomas did last year? I mean, it's defensive linemen aren't supposed to be racking up those kind of numbers in terms of tackles.
Well, I think similar to our offensive line, our front seven play has improved steadily, pretty much every game since USC. Also, it's typically better than when your safeties are leading you in tackles, because usually the tackles are happening back there. But I think Harrison has played well. I think Bobby Okereke's played well. I think our whole front seven has continued to grow and mature. So hopefully we can get those tackles close to the line of scrimmage, so we can get second and longs and third and longs, and we have a chance to get the ball back. But that's kind of what you want. You would want those guys in that front seven to be making a lot of plays to make for longer down distances.
With Joey Alfieri's move inside, wondering where he is right now, how you evaluate the last couple of games, and how close he is maybe to being starter inside.
I'm not going to answer that last question. Because the thing is not about trying to get guys to be starters. The thing is about playing the guys that earn the right to play, and he's earned the right to play, and his snap count has increased. I think Bobby's been playing very, very well. I think Jordan Perez has been playing very, very well. In particular for that group, losing Mustafa for a period of time, and has made that difficult, in particular with Sean Barton being out for the season. So Joey's had to have a little bit more thrust in his shoulders, and I think he's played well. He's got all the physical tools, and now he's learning how to play the position. And he's gotten better and better, and there's nothing like experience. There's nothing about time, nothing more than time on task. But he's also playing a position that other guys have been playing for most of their lives. So it's not just plug and play with a guy who's a great athlete, because he's a great athlete and he's physical and does all the things that you want as a football player. But he's still learning to play a new position, and he's getting better and better and better. And last couple of weeks, I think he's really shown some good things. And we're going to continue on our process, and he's going to continue to make progress.
You guys have significantly cut down on turnovers the last 4 games, and then on defense, you've been getting a lot of them, which is kind of a change from previous years. Can you talk about both of those developments?
Of all the things that we've done over the last few years, I don't know that we've put more time into anything than creating turnovers on defense. We've worked so many drills and put such an emphasis on it, and worked on ball drills with all of our defensive players, from defensive line to linebackers to defensive backs. And it's just great to see all that work pay off. Our guys have taken it seriously. We've got guys that have some ability to catch the ball and have great instincts, and sometimes the ball's still got to come your way. So we've had a lot of guys make great plays. We've had a lot of guys be in great position doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that's usually when the positive things happen. You're where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing, your eyes are in the right spot, and you make a great break. So it's been an emphasis for us for years. There were years where we played so well on defense and we just could not get turnovers. And for this year, that's changed, and hopefully it continues to stay the way that it is. And guys are being opportunistic. Guys are making great decisions. Pressure on the quarterback always helps as far as getting interceptions. Offensively, it's about ball security. And our running backs have had great ball security. Our quarterbacks have had very good ball security. I know we put one on the ground from a fumble snap perspective last week. But outside of that, we've been very good with the ball in the pocket, moving around. We've had to slide a couple times, which is great. We're putting the ball in safe places where only our guys can get it, which is another part of it. And our guys have been aggressive to the ball as receivers. Some of those catches, some of those touchdown catches, we have to fight for the ball. And the quarterback's got to have the trust in those guys, and those guys have to go get it. So It's been emphasized very much by our coaching staff, and our players have taken it seriously. And I just hope the trend continues.
Your top 4 targeted receivers are actually wide receivers, which is a little bit different around here. How much of that is just that's how teams are playing you guys at this point?
Well, I think part of it is also recruiting. We've got some pretty good guys out there now. I think we've been so tight end heavy over the years because we've had great tight ends. And I think that we're in that position again where we do have really good tight ends. And early in the year, there were more tight end targets than receiver targets, and it's kind of switched back a little bit. And I think that'll go back and forth. We've had games where Caden Smith has made some great plays, and some games where he hasn't made as many. I think that's going to continue to go back and forth, but that's what happens when you're on a team that's pretty talented. The ball gets spread around, so there'll be another game where Dalton Schultz, makes a significant number of catches and maybe a couple touchdowns, and who knows where you categorize Colby Parkinson. We kind of put him in both worlds repeatedly, but I think with what we have at receiver, with JJ being healthy and making plays, and Trenton being healthy and making plays, our 2 young guys, and Donald Stewart and Connor Weddington staying involved and active also has been great. But I think we'll continue to go back and forth between our different personnel groupings. So hopefully getting a lot of guys the ability to touch the ball.
Speaking of Connor, it's been pretty impressive how natural he's looked at receiver, given how dynamic a running back he was in high school. And one thing, he had great plays against Oregon, but really physically finishing a block on Trent Irwin's catch and run, and just seeming to feel or look comfortable at receiver. If you could talk about that.
Well, what's the most exciting thing about Connor for me is that he's just a football player. Whatever we ask him to do, he'll work his tail off to get good at it. As time goes here, I think he'll do a little bit of both. I think he is a natural receiver. But there are things he can do from the backfield, which I think we'll get to at some point during his career here. You've seen him go back there on punt return at some point while he's here. I'm sure he'll do some kickoff return. So he's just one of those guys that's very versatile. He's very physical. He's very strong. He's very aggressive, which is why we put him in some good positions also as a blocker. Because he's very physical and does a great job. So his versatility is really exciting for the next few years.
Coach, when you're facing a team that has gone through an in-season coaching change, what sort of extra variables does that throw into the picture? Does it make them a bit more unpredictable in some senses? How does that potentially change how you prepare for it?
Absolutely. You have to know that things will change. Things will be a little bit different. So we're going to go off of what we see on film, but at the same time, we're going to know that we have to make some adjustments. They've had a little bit more time this week, just as we have. But yeah, that's always in the back of your mind. The other thing in the back of your mind also, which we talked about yesterday, which is as a team, though, we still can't focus on that. We can't focus on all the possibilities and maybes and what ifs. We still need to focus on us and doing our jobs and doing the best that we can. I think we've progressed every week, and I don't want that to stop. I don't want to say, okay, we're good enough now. We don't have to improve off of last week's performance. No, our job is to find the things that we could improve on and improve on them. So I want to make sure that's a point of emphasis for us, is still working on the things that we can work on to get better.
So how does the practice schedule change for a Thursday game? I'm guessing you're flying out Wednesday and practice on a Sunday. How
Oh, it's we've all done it so many times, but it's still the most confusing thing in the world because Saturday was a Monday, Sunday was a Tuesday, Monday is a Wednesday. So a lot of people we still have communications like what we're going to do on Monday. Wait, which Monday? The real Monday or the fake Monday that is now actually Wednesday? So yeah, those conversations make it very difficult. But for us, as I said earlier, we are all creatures of habit. So, you always count backward from the game day and do the things that you normally do. It's just different for our guys sometimes because our typical Wednesday has one way of doing things because of class schedules. Well, now it's a Monday, which are different class schedules that there are on Wednesday, excuse me. and just getting into that. But I think we did a good job with our coaches, reminding our guys what days they are. We need a great practice yesterday, which I think we got one. We need another great practice again today, and then we do our walkthrough tomorrow. So getting guys ramped up to do what we need to do on the field, regardless of what actual day it is. This is our quote-unquote Wednesday practice.
So this is the tough day.
Yes, and making sure guys understand that. And they got a couple days off early in the week. A little bit rusty the first day out on the field on Friday, understandably, or on Saturday, the real Saturday.
Monday.
Yeah. But knowing that yesterday and today are two big practices, with today being the more physical one, and that we need to have it today.
And then on the back end of the game, is it back to the regular week plus rest? Is that essentially what you're looking
Absolutely. So we'll get the guys out of here after, late night road game at Oregon State. We won't have much for them outside of physical check-ins on Friday, and then off for the weekend, and then we'll come back. And our normal Monday will actually be on a Monday to prepare for our game against Washington State.
On Friday, Harrison Phillips was in Sacramento, and he was surprised with the AFCA Good Works award. Where does he find the time to, contribute, to the community like that?
I still don't know. I have no idea. That doesn't make any sense. He does so many things outside of school and outside of football, and still does so well in football and still does so well in school with a double major and a minor. I have absolutely no idea how he does it. Very happy for him. I'm very grateful to him also for being such a good example of if you set your mind to it and you want to be great in football and you want to be a great student and you want to do well in the community and make a difference, that if you organize your time, you can. It's impressive. Very good.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
at? Thanks, Coach.